Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Discover a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Hi, this is Rob Benedict.
And I am Richard Spate. We were both on a little show you might know called Supernatural.
It had a pretty good run, 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
And though we have seen, of course, every episode many times, we figured, hey, now that we're wrapped, let's watch it all again.
And we can't do that alone, so we're inviting the cast and crew that made the show along for the ride. We've got writers, producers, composers, directors, and we'll of course have some actors on as well, including some certain guys that played some certain pretty iconic brothers.
It was kind of a little bit of a left field choice in the best way possible.
The note from Kripke was, he's great, we love him, but we're looking for like a really intelligent Duchovny type.
With 15 seasons to explore, it's going to be the road trip of several lifetimes. So please join us and subscribe to Supernatural Then and Now.
All right, we're rolling now. We're rolling now. Rolling. I got some ASMR from the lip gloss.
A ventriloquist dummy does ASMR. Is that what this? Your mouth isn't even moving.
What are you talking about?
I gotta say, without my glasses on, it's very easy to create magic for me because I go, what? Like, you're about something at all in your glow future class, and you'd see a little bit.
Who knows?
I'll send your reel into Nickelodeon with that.
A dream. If I could just get a job where I can make weird noises, I'd be 100% down.
Foley artist.
Yeah, but then you have to
There's
figure
a lot
out.
of creativity.
I was gonna say I don't want to figure things out.
No thoughts.
I just want
vibes.
to, have one of those like weird characters in the background that just like makes noises, like additional voices. That
you want to be
jump.
like a sock puppet in the background.
Mhm.
Additional voices.
Yeah,
I understand.
it's very hard to get into voice acting though.
It is. You've got a couple ends. Welcome to another episode of But Am I Wrong? And guess who we are? Besides the lovely Meghan and Melisa, we are two people who are not
Wrong
ever
in life.
It's a phenomenon. They're studying it. Yale School of Medicine. They're like George Hopkins?
John.
Who's George? George is like I was
The
not
brother.
the golden child. It's like, I'm so glad I'm finally getting recognition. You know what? Recognition for George Hopkins. Come on, Georgie. You're overlooked constantly.
George Santos is like, that used to be my name, you know?
And then I decided to pivot. And then I started doing method acting. And it's like, you know what? I need everyone to stop method acting.
Oh my gosh.
That could be a hot take for a different episode. Well, welcome back to the podcast. If you are new here, let us tell you a little bit about it. So we have not ever been wrong. So we thought it is our duty to make a podcast where we help people who are wrong and have been wrong.
Or they're not sure.
We're here to tell them, like, if you've ever seen The Good Place. What's her name?
Maya Rudolph.
There you go. So in The Good Place, she's the judge who's like the judge of the judges, like the end all be all ruling. And we also have that gift, except it's not fictional. It's like completely real. So it is our duty, civic duty, and universal duty to tell you, help you out, let you know if you are wrong or not. So.
Well, speaking of Maya Rudolph, never mind, you don't have the streaming platform.
Which one don't I have?
Apple TV.
Yep,
See?
I don't have that one.
Her show, Loot, good show you can put on, just like a good feel-good show.
I'm not in the market to get any new streaming platforms right now, but if I do,
well,
I'd watch that.
Well, you shouldn't, because you're going to have a while for it to return, because the picketers showed up at the set?
Oh, it's on right now?
Yeah.
I won't watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, the pickers showed up to the set and then they retreated. People were like, they retreated to their trailers. It's like, no, they didn't cross the picket line. And I'm sure they were prepared. They were just waiting for people to show up.
She's like, hello, you're late. Not trying to make it go. Hurry on up. Like I had no intent. I am not mentally prepared to work today. Like I had no plans. I'm just going through the motions.
That's actually a pretty good Maya Rudolph impression because that's how she talks.
Without a doubt. No, I love her. She's one of my favorites.
Me too.
She's great. I love big actors who you believe their performances. Mm-hmm. I say the same thing with Anna Faris. I still believe it. Like I still buy it.
Yeah. We had a whole conversation about this when we recorded last time for Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
You know, I'm just here to bring things full circle. So I guess more about this podcast. We have 3 different segments and we will get into explaining each of them before we hop in to each of them. But all you really need to know, we hold the answers. Aww. And we've been off for a bit. We did 2 back-to-back episodes of But Am I Watching? And we're glad that you all enjoyed that. That was really fun for us. We're going to keep implementing that when we need the levity.
I think we should implement it the week after this.
I think that'd be fun. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about lots of different things. And we are going to be voting right now. If we think you're wrong, we think this person's wrong, we think this person is not wrong, blah, 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 blah. But then we open it up to you. So we post polls on our Instagram stories about each segment we talk about, each instance, and you can vote if you think that the writer was wrong, if you think we are wrong, if you think that who we nominate for our wrong of the week, if they're wrong. And then we read the results on Friday, which is Fisting Friday. So it won't be tomorrow. Tomorrow you will hear the results from Marvelous Miss Maisel episode. And then the votes for this will be out before Monday or on Monday. So you got to follow us on Instagram to stay up to date.
All right, Megan, are you ready?
I'm ready to party. I'm in a Maya Rudolph mood now.
That's not Maya Rudolph.
No, but
though.
She's in the movie.
Yeah, she is. And you know what I appreciate most about that movie? Is that they were like, it's a good movie. We don't need a sequel. Because they were trying to force them to do a sequel.
Once you shit in the street, I don't want to know how you up the ante from there.
Yeah.
That's how we got the rest of the Hangover movies. And the first one already gave me so much anxiety.
Mm-hmm. Good screenplay to read, though, if you're an aspiring writer. And with that, I will segue into But Am I Wrong? And that's where we present something from our lives that could be a situation that we may be wrong in. It could be a rant and present it to each other. And then later y'all will vote for it, as Megan said. Mine is a rant.
We love a rant.
It's not, a hot take because people should have this take.
Yep, no doubt.
And as I said, it's a segue. So I'm going to talk about the writer's strike.
Yes.
So if you don't know, WGA, the Writers Guild of America, is on strike right now. And what that means is that any writer for a TV production, they're not writing. They're on strike. They voted. Strike is done. It's going through. And I have a gripe with so many people from different angles. So first, I'm going to start with people that feel like writers make too much money as it is. The everyday staff writer does not make a lot of money. Even if you're on some of these streaming platforms, the showrunners don't make a lot of money. If you don't know what the showrunner is the head writer, but they're also in charge of production. So a top showrunner is Shonda Rhimes. I'll get to that later. But they don't make a living wage. It's a problem. A couple weeks ago, I had some people over my house and there was a writer that's sold a ton of shows but she's never had anything on air. Mm-hmm. And then another writer that has been a showrunner for a show and has written on some very, very prominent shows. And, I live in a nice house, but it's not a mansion or anything, but they were just I can't afford something like this. And I was listening to them talk, and this was before the strike, and I didn't understand just how little money that they made. And I was just they have the job that I want. and this is how much money that they make.
Yep.
And as they were explaining things to me, I was just like, what the fuck? Like, seriously, what the actual fuck?
There's no logic behind it. It's like blatantly screwing people over and like it's allowed.
Yes.
It's like there's no denying it.
There's so many
like
levels to this. Like, there's a thing called like which is a new thing that popped up so that streamers don't have to pay the writers, called like mini rooms, where they bring people in that have some type of caliber, where they can be like a staff level writer, or there's somebody that's pre-WGA that has worked on some things but has never joined the WGA, but have like good, like sizable credits to the point where they trust them enough to pitch ideas for a TV show, but then usually don't hire them for they'll hire them in a consulting role for the day rate. Yes, they'll hire them in a consulting role as a consultant in these mini rooms with a day rate that is like, it's a chunk of money, but in the large scheme of things is not a lot of money at all. And then not bring them onto the show as writers and not give them writing credits or producing credits. Also, they don't get credit. Don't get credit at all. To the point where, you know, we have so much content now, the seasons for shows have gotten smaller. And so what that means is that a lot of times we have like 8-9 episode shows where by the time the show actually goes into production, the writers aren't being asked to come to set. And so in case you don't know this, writers are also producers on shows. And so when you come on set, you learn how to be a producer, and eventually so you can move up to be a showrunner, which is the goal of most writers.
Yeah.
And so because the seasons are so short, they're not being asked, it's not being budgeted for them to come on set. If they want to come, they can, but they have to pay their own way, and they're not there as a writer. And again, they would be there just to watch and not get paid. And if that happens, then okay, so they're basically being interns for the day, shadowing. But because like you're looking for your next paycheck, a lot of them have already moved on to the next show. And so they're a staff writer on that next show, but again, not getting any production credits. So they just stay at that base level and they're not able to move up. There's many things that are in like this writers, why it's striking, like AI is a part of it. Some of the studios are like, well, we don't really need writers. We can just have AI bots generate ideas and write, and then like the showrunners can rewrite it. Yep. And it's like, no, this is a creative industry. Like a robot cannot replace. I saw somebody's strike sign that said like chat CP. I never know what the fucking CPT, whatever it is.
Chat GPT.
GPT doesn't have trauma or something like that.
Did you see the one Chat GPT cannot write Tariq's rap?
Yes, from Quinta.
Yep.
Of course, I saw that. But there's a lot of things that are in this. Like a lot of people just they see that their favorite shows aren't coming on back, or like see writers striking and think that everybody is making so much money, and they're literally not. And then I've seen people not yell, but like talk bad to people that work in animation, because a lot of the animated shows are still writing. And I'm like, animators are not in the same guild. It's a different guild. And also they have it worse. Like they make even less money. Mm-hmm. And then I've seen people like trying to hold, and maybe it's because these are like my shows that I watch, but I watch a lot of shows and I haven't seen people jump on to Black women showrunners in the same way that they've done it to
Quinta, fix it.
Quinta and Shonda.
Oh, and God. Shonda's like, haven't I done enough for all of you?
So Shonda like was talking about on one of these morning shows, like how she has also, like, people were like, why can't you fix it? Why aren't you paying your writers enough? Showrunners do not pay the writers money. Showrunners are still, they're the boss of the show, but they're not the boss of the network. They're not writing checks to writers. It is the network. Do not put this on the showrunners of the shows. If you don't know what you're talking about, just like read an art. There's plenty of articles out there. Read an article to educate yourself when it comes to anything. Anything you want to speak on, read an article about it, but it does not fall on the shoulders of the showrunners, and stop like calling people out when you don't know what you're calling them out on, because a lot of times it's not true.
Yeah. And like, I don't think a lot of people understand that it's like nothing illegal is happening. That's the problem. Like, they're just, streaming's not written in. And like, I can say that from like an acting perspective too. Like, streaming's not written in. Like, I don't get residuals for anything I've done on streaming. For my movie, The Honor List, like, I was devastated when we didn't get on Netflix, and like they were all like, no, we're not starting to pitch it. And I was like, can we not pitch it to Netflix? They're like, no, we're not pitching it. Like, and I get residuals from my movie because the movie wasn't sold on it's on different. I mean, it's not on Netflix in the US right now. I think it's in different places in Hulu, Netflix, whatever. But it airs on different TV channels. It's got that. It's like I actually get residuals from it. It is one of the only things I get residuals from. And so like there can be other things that you've done that are streaming. I've done streaming things that have then gotten sold on networks, but I was on a streaming deal. So like I don't get residuals for those things playing again, even if they are being played off of a streaming platform and they're on TV. And so like it's the issue. Like the reason why anyone strikes is because the laws and the infrastructure of how things are written, where people are being paid legally, it is no longer applicable to the current status. And so the entire industry needs to strike in order for their demands to be met by the people who are paying their bills, who are the studios.
Yes.
Like
showrunners are still writers, like as I said before. So they are on strike as well.
Yeah.
And just to add on to the residuals, like I've seen like checks of people getting residuals that are like for a penny. Back in the day when shows were still like they'd get sold into syndication, it was like magical. It's like once you hit season 4, everybody's like, we're all getting paid. So it's like, because that's when things would get sold into syndication. And syndication is when shows are repeated on other networks that isn't the original network. Like I feel like right now, like Friends,
The Office,
Modern Family, SVU, all like
Vampire Diary, that was like all international those shows things that have spanned everywhere.
And it's like if you were a writer on those shows back in the day, you're still getting checks from that, and big like $1,000 checks, thousands of dollars of checks. Like you could retire. Now writers can't retire, which is so messed up.
And the other thing that like people think of like, oh, well, they should be getting all of these fat checks. I'm like, so the point of residuals is not so someone does one job and then never has to work again. It's so that they can pay for the time that it takes before they get another job.
Yeah.
And the issue with streaming as well, like with the smaller time frame windows, people are being signed into like relatively exclusive things for short periods of time, and then they can't look for work at the same time or afterwards. And so then it's like, well, I didn't make enough money to not have a job after this. And like,
but also like the show is still providing entertainment. So who should be making money off of it? Like you're still, if I'm scrolling, not scrolling, if I'm flipping, which was a thing, we don't really do that anymore, but flipping through the channels and I land on an old episode of like Modern Family, then like someone should be, you're being entertained by it. So somebody should be getting paid.
Yeah. And the high cost of living, I think a lot of people see like the requirements for this and for like, or what people are asking for to be paid. Like a livable wage in Los Angeles is very different than a livable wage in other places. And then you also have to like half the check is gone because you have to pay people out.
Yes. You have to pay your agent, your manager, your lawyer, depending on what it was, the PR person, taxes, like you, and your dues to the guilds too.
You keep your take home
less than half of what?
Probably 30 to 25 to 30%.
Yep.
So writers aren't asking for, if they write a single episode, that they never have to work again and they can fly private. It's like people are worried, like everyone's like, no one is writing good shit anymore. And it's like, okay, creativity also requires like time and like work at it.
And writers are also, it's not just like one episode that they're writing. They're in the writer's room. Like even if their name does not appear on the episode, they've still contributed by sharing ideas, punching up the script. Like there's still like a lot that goes into writing that doesn't include that one script that your name was on.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I mean, there's so much I can talk about, but this is just the last thing is then people making this comparison to like, why should I support writers when like teachers aren't getting paid, nurses aren't getting paid? Like they're not the same. It's not connected. Like everyone should be getting paid.
Yeah.
Teachers should be getting paid. Nurses should be getting paid. Anybody that is underpaid should be getting paid.
Yep.
And if we all rise up together and support any type of union, any type of person that's not making the money that they should be made, then that's only great for everyone else. So don't compare it to other things.
Yeah. Writers' salaries aren't going to be taken out of teachers' salaries.
No.
Like none of these things, like the whole goal is like less bajillionaires. And that's who we're asking to be paid.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're not asking for anyone to pay for this who isn't reaping the benefits of the billions of dollars they're making off of it.
Right.
So yeah, there's been a lot of frustration I've seen, and there's a lot of like misconceptions I've seen just about this in general. Like a thread that spurred up from this was like someone was like talking about the ridiculous prices, the ridiculous costs of like celebrity hair and makeup, and they were like, well, you know, they just fuck over like the small, like the new actors because like, you know, celebrities don't pay for their hair and makeup, like their agencies pay for it. Melissa,
what?
People think that the same way when you have a record deal, your label pays for, you know, they pay for shit because they're investing in that. And when you have a record deal, they basically like you have an artist fund, so they like pay for all of this shit. Like that's when you get like the TV makeover.
But even that money is coming off
all the money that you've made. But if you don't fulfill your contract and you don't make any money, they let you go and you're done. You don't have to pay that money back.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why the deals are incredibly long, because they need you to pay it back. People think that it's the same way when you sign with an agency when you're an actor.
There's so many writers that were recently at the Emmys, and they talked about how their bank accounts were in the negative. They were literally there with money that they had borrowed. They borrowed the clothes that they were wearing, and like some of them had like just applied for waiter jobs and things like that because they can't make ends meet.
People think if they know who they are and they have visibility, they recognize their face. If they're a working actor, they're a working writer, they're on things that you know of, that they're not the ones we have to worry about. It's the ones we don't know about yet. I'm telling you right now, like if you're spending a fuck ton of money to be a writer or an actor in LA without any jobs, that's your choice. Once you get a job, you have to spend a fuck ton of money to keep that job.
Yep.
And that's the part, like if I've booked something and I'm working on something, I'm making less money. And I know that. And I'm like, gonna have to make this up. Like, this is a big pay cut and it's gonna be hard. And that's wild.
You know, and you and I have had the conversation about how like my ultimate dream, well, not dream job, because I do not dream of working, but like
within the confines of capitalism.
Yes, with my dream job within the confines of capitalism, I was going to take a job that was paying way, 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 way below.
Who knows if it was even legally what you were allowed to do. No, it was. But it's, you know, base pay.
And it was under one of these big corporations, and they ended up like not doing the program. But like I was willing to do that, and it would have been hard. But like that's how I would have been able to even get my pinky toe in the door.
Yep.
So it's just wild. And catch me outside. I will be picketing. I think SAG is the Actors Guild. I think it'll be next because the Writers Guild was actually going to like strike in 2020, but because of the pandemic, they held off and were negotiating in good faith, hoping that within the pandemic time that, you know, the studios would come around, and they didn't. So here we are. And SAG, it's the same thing. And also I saw your SAG president was out picketing with the WGA, and she looked gorgeous, by the way. I don't know.
I give that woman a clothing line. Like I buy
dresser,
all
like,
of it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
The stuff she was saying, I was like, I feel like she's going to take that same energy to SAG.
I hope so. Yeah. It's a lot. Like it's wild to think about like wanting to book a job, but knowing if I book a job, it's gonna be like less money. And like anyone can like look it up. Like the SAG day rate is $1,082 a day, which people are like, that's a
No.
30%, 10% gone, 5% gone. And that's if you don't have a business manager.
Yep.
So,
and that all comes off the top. It's not like
you don't see that money.
You don't
pay
see that.
them out.
You don't even, it doesn't even get sent to you. And you don't even see those checks for a minute too, because it has to go through your agency.
Yep. It goes through a lot of fucking people.
And by the time it gets to you, that's like $400.
Yeah.
And also you have to keep in mind too, that that's not consistent work. So
no,
that could be like 2 days of work. And that's the 2 days that you work the whole fucking year.
Yep. And you have to pay your dues to maintain being in there. And then also if you don't work enough hours, you lose your health care and you have to pay out of pocket for your health care. Like I have not clocked in enough SAG hours in like the last 3 years, obviously. So have to pay out of pocket for that to match it. But yeah, like I had Nickelodeon residuals years and years ago, and it would be like, I don't know, like $10, $20. Like it's nothing. And for a movie, it's exponentially more. And that's a movie and you do not make more residuals. No. But I make more residuals because I'm a EP on the movie. If I was just an actor, I would make next to nothing. And it's nowhere.
And to compare, my uncle was a background actor on a movie that filmed in Arkansas in like the late 80s. And he's still making money off that movie.
Yeah.
He gets checks like every quarter from SAG.
It's a shit show. So people aren't picketing. In most cases, you'll rarely ever see a union picketing for excess.
Yeah.
So that's a good rule of thumb just to know. And like, you know, writers union stands with like the teachers union stands with like Teamster union, like unions stand together. It's like we all benefit from this. But yeah, so obviously I agree with everything. We've talked about this at length on our own.
And there's so much to talk about.
Yeah. I could talk about it forever. Like the takes on Twitter piss me off. You know, I was going to come at my hot take with kind of a rant with something that was a little bit more like philosophical. It was like, you know, really introspective that I saw on TikTok, really made me think. And you know what I thought? I don't want to think.
Okay.
I want to talk about something that I really care about. And I think I know kind of where you stand on this. And this is a bold claim.
Here's the thing. Sometimes I surprise you.
I know. And then sometimes you lie. So I am a sauce girl. I love sauce. For me, everything a vehicle for the sauce. Pizza, more sauce. Pasta, more sauce. If it was socially acceptable and I didn't have acid reflux, I would give me sauce and meatballs. I don't need the fucking pasta. Like I'm not, the bread is a vehicle for whatever the fuck is on the bread. Bagel, same thing. Everything is a vehicle. So no, as a saucy, an ambassador for sauce, a sauce ambassador.
She loves the pink sauce.
That is a lie. And I warned you. I told you she was a liar. I ain't calling you a truther. I have decided after much deliberation to crown the most underrated sauce of all time.
Okay. And I can I tell you what the most overrated sauce is of all time?
Yeah.
Ranch. Come at me.
Hard fucking agree. Ranch, that's not a sauce. That is a murky liquid. I don't know what that is out.
Okay, continue.
A salad dressing is not a sauce. Ranch people just got a little too, like they were like, I'm going to start putting it. It's
I can't.
Ranch is the Windex of the sauce community.
Where Windex doesn't actually get your windows that clean.
No, but people will be like, put it on a bug bite, put it on this. And you're like, who is paying big Windex? Windex thinks they're Vicks Vapor Rub and they could never. So my title, who I am crowning the most underrated sauce of the universe. Hollandaise.
You know where I stand on this. You already knew before it started.
Because I find the way to bring up Eggs Benedict all the time because it's a huge part of who I am. Like Eggs Benedict is like one of my core values. It is one of my pillars. Integrity, cuntiness, and Eggs Benedict.
1:30 a.m. today.
Okay.
Technically night because I hadn't gone to sleep
yet.
You know
I have a hard time with this.
I know, but I'm just saying I hadn't gone to sleep yet.
Night.
So yeah. 1:30 a.m. I was looking up French restaurants because eggs Benedict is kind of like a staple in French, but I was like, I need them to make gluten-free.
Uh-huh.
I came up short, but just know that's what I was doing at 1:30 a.m.
And when the hollandaise itch comes, you gotta scratch it. Melissa, I've decided
Put some Windex on it.
It puts a fucking Windex on it, throws some, my Vicks Vapor Rub it actually does a lot of good.
It does.
Here's the thing. I'm going to learn how to do it. Like, I've actually decided, like, it's really important to me that, like, I'm going to figure out how to fucking give us what we deserve, which is a dairy-free, gluten-free eggs Benedict and eggs Benny. I like my close personal friend, Benny. But, like, hollandaise sauce I've made before I've made it before, like, a good amount of times. It's not easy. There's a reason why it's not used all the time. But, like, we love aioli.
Sauce.
We hear about aioli all the time. But, like, why the fuck is hollandaise not on anything else? A bechamel? I don't need it. I can take or leave a bechamel.
But
you swap in a hollandaise? Where the fuck is hollandaise spending the rest of hollandaise? Is like, hollandaise has one gig a weekend, a brunch, and then the whole week off.
It's similar to how we feel about cocktail sauce. We had this
Honestly,
conversation before.
Cocktail sauce and a hollandaise need to get together and be like, why the fuck are we so widely underappreciated? We are a transformable. Tell me that you wouldn't dip a French fry in hollandaise sauce.
And I have.
Delicious. But, like, why is that not a fucking option? Why?
You know, this is one of the things I actually don't even know what goes into making hollandaise.
Butter.
I figured it was both of those.
It's a lot of emulsifying, like in a blend, like
of course, yeah.
Lemon juice.
So Dijon, salt, cayenne. Oh, this is.
It's not hard. But
it's not. It's the ingredients are simple. These are like everyday ingredients, but it takes, you know.
Yeah, you have to emulsify it
a little
because it's hot butter and it's lemon's acidic, and so you know there's room to go wrong between cooking of the egg, like the egg, all of those things. So I understand why at a restaurant
you can't make it in bulk.
No, I get that, but like
a basic ass ranch.
You can make ranch from a dry packet and then you mix water in.
If you want
Those
to add
people
a
need
protein,
to be stopped.
You just blend up.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
Some cottage cheese and then put it in.
I'm waiting for the day that, you know how people go, you give someone a dry packet and they go, I can make that into a pancake. I'm fucking waiting till they make a ranch protein pancake. Someone's done it.
Yes, 100%.
And here Hollandaise is sitting pretty, gorgeous, beautiful, supple, lush, just sitting there going, I'm right here, you heathens. So
yeah,
justice for Hollandaise sauce.
Holly Days.
Miss Holly girl, how do we get you in front of the right people?
We got to add this to our list of...
Call up Big Kale.
Yeah, Big Kale knows what to do. Kale drizzled with some Hollandaise.
What's that? Anything. Like, how good?
Yeah.
I want to know if any other cultures, any other countries, do you put Hollandaise sauce on other things? Like, is this just America is not to that place yet? Or wherever you are across, is this a global issue?
Yeah, I would like to know. So then I know British people, you can sit that out. But like,
I'm good.
Everybody else, let me know. Let us know.
Wow, Food and Wine did an article, 6 ways to get more Hollandaise in your life. Yeah, the only other time I've ever had it was on salmon, but that's because it was at like a fucking Easter brunch, some brunch or a graduation brunch, and they was serving Eggs Benedict, and I go, so they obviously just threw the extra sauce on there.
Mm-hmm.
So if Hollandaise sauce has one fan, it's me. If they have no fans, I'm dead.
She's dead. But I'm still here, so that's
Holly,
a lie.
There's an undying love I have for you since I was a legitimate child.
Well, you're not wrong. It's a delicious, delicious sauce.
Oh my God, I can't stop looking at pictures of it. I need to thank you.
Let's take a commercial break.
Woo!
And we're back.
Hi. It is time for But Are You Wrong, where we read your email submissions, where you send us a predicament, a situation in your life, and you say, am I the hero or the villain? Actually, you say at the end, but am I wrong? Am I wrong for this? And we tell you if you are wrong. So if you would like to participate and be on an upcoming episode, it is obviously all anonymous. We do not read your email address or your name or anything like that. You can send it to butamiwrongpod@gmail.com. I did have to click the little icon in the corner to confirm that was the email address we have. And we ask that you keep it under 300 words. You give people fake names, pseudonyms, but you include all relevant information so we can accurately judge you in the court of our
Melisa
law.
and Meghan.
Yep.
Writer number 1. I, 29, she, her, am a mom with a 1-year-old. I've gone out of my comfort zone to find mom friends and have actually had success. Recently, I made mom friends at my gym. Everybody's making friends at the gym lately.
I know.
One of them, 36, she, her, frequently talks about her bad marriage, lack of friends, and how she resents her second daughter. Oof.
Relatable. Except I'm the only one. Continue.
Overall, she's going through a really hard time. She mentioned that her birthday was this summer, how her husband never does anything for her birthday, and how upsetting that was. I had previously told her that I wanted to do a summer barbecue where kids, parents, and also friends without kids could come hang out because it would be a good way to do a mom hang that includes our kids. I asked if she wanted me to plan it for the same day as her birthday so that she definitely had plans on her B-Day. She said she would really like that. I invited about 40 of my friends, one of which is our mutual friend, and a majority said that they were excited and would attend. She messaged me the next day saying her husband actually made plans for her birthday, asking if I would change the date. I told her I already invited everyone, but that I was happy her husband made plans for them and that I hoped she was having a great day. She is upset that I won't change the date. Am I wrong for not changing the date of the barbecue?
What are we calling summer?
Yeah, it's not summer yet.
No.
But some people, they're like, as soon as the temps hit a certain temperature, they're like, because I don't know where this person's located, but I know that you've been in California, so the temperature's pretty steady. But in other parts of the country, when it's like definitely got hot, they're like, it's summertime.
Oh, see, for me, I still behave unless I would be out of high school. It's not summer yet. Like you treat it as to when you get out of summer. That's actually legitimately the whole thing.
Yeah. Were you labeling this party as her birthday party? Is my question. Was it labeled as a barbecue that you were just having and then you were just going to celebrate it for her birthday, or were you labeling this a birthday party? Because it was just a barbecue and nobody knew it was her birthday, but it was just on her birthday, then you weren't wrong. I mean, people were coming. They have already RSVP'd. I'm sure you probably had already bought food and things for it. But if it was specifically her birthday, then yes, you were wrong. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah. I need to know how far in advance this is. And again, like Melissa said, like, did the people invited, did they know it was her birthday? And I think my other caveat was, were you going to buy her a cake and were people going to sing happy birthday for her? Because it sounds like she has a really bad marriage, a lack of friends, and he might be finally doing one thing for her, but this was the thing that she probably was actually looking forward to more.
Yeah.
And so now
she
it's
could
gone.
make more friends.
Yeah. So I think I think if it was, like I'm having this, I guess that's the date I'll pick because it's your birthday. That to me, it also, depending on how toxic her marriage is, her husband could have found out that, and then he decided to take that away from her. So the planning of it. So like, I think I would have zero issue on if I was receiving an invite for it, that it was like, oh, actually, we were also celebrating birthday this day. It's actually, we're not gonna do this day. We're gonna do this day instead. I would have no issue as a guest attending it. I think that not rescheduling it, if you haven't already bought you know what I mean? Like if you wouldn't be out money and like food would expire and like plans, like people had already, like if you wouldn't financially be in the red or you would lose money from doing this. I don't think that you gain anything from not rescheduling except like on the principle of not rescheduling.
Right.
Like, I just think like sometimes life isn't so cut and dry of like, well, I already invited these other people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that as a guest of that, I understand that like life happens and things don't always go exactly that plan. And I'm very happy to be flexible when I'm just a guest enjoying a birthday or a barbecue. Like I don't have a lot riding on it versus someone who that might have been a really big thing for them and support system wise. Yeah. Like I can be there any day. Like, and even if not, then that's okay. But I think this is the issue when you start combining occasions.
Yeah. So like, was she just going to be the guest or a guest of honor? The difference. Also, like, summer just started. So
have
like,
another.
Unless you're in a different country where we're completely off with seasons and it's, just a different time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they're not having summer right now either. I can't. Is there another one besides Australia? Does someone?
I don't know.
I can't. That's too much for me to think about.
But why not throw another one?
Yeah. You have said that she's definitely like going through it. So I think you can't really look at it through like your own personal, how you would behave and like the logic kind of lens. Like when someone like needs community and they feel like the community it doesn't feel like they're rallying around them. It feels like they're being tacked on and will continue on without them. That can feel really hard. It's not rational, but it's like sometimes just happens.
Yep.
So I am going to have to say conditionally. I think you would be wrong if this is done on the principle and not because you've spent all of this money and like you can't actually reschedule and it's like the day before, 2 days before. And then I would think you were wrong if this is weeks in advance and people knew that they were celebrating her. That would be mine.
Mm-hmm.
But without those details, I'm flip-flopping. Okay. Next up. Hi, Meghan and Melissa. I have a friend I'm super close to named Ella, she, her. Ella's in a relationship with Sean, he, him, for almost a year. Ella and Sean's relationship started getting pretty rocky because he's being shady, and so she confided in me. There's a group of girls that I grew up with that work with Sean and also know Ella. They're also fully aware of their relationship, by the way. And one of these girls, Sammy, posted on her close friends a video of Sean getting close with another girl, Faye, at a lounge. By close, I mean they were cuddled up in a booth together. I'm not on Sammy's close friends list, but one of the other girls we grew up with, Hannah, showed me the video and asked me if I can let Ella know what her man was up to. I told her what happened with all of the details included, and she confronted Sean. Sean was focused on who was recording him and who told her what was going on, and she did share that information with him, and he got mad at Sammy for posting the video. Sammy told Hannah, and they were both upset at me for sharing the information with Ella. Hannah was upset that I told her where I got the information from because she was just trying to avoid this mess. I don't think I was wrong because I think Sammy was being a mean girl by posting the video and just didn't think Ella would have found out what happened. I also know for certain that if one of the other girls were in, who's Elias? Oh, Ella. were in Ella's position, I would have shared the same information with them because we all deserve to know when our boyfriend is acting shady. All of the childhood girls are making me seem like I'm being the bad guy for quote unquote snitching on Sammy to Ella. So please let me know if I'm wrong in this situation, if I'm being gaslit. FYI, I forgot to mention, this is one of the reasons that Ella and Sean have broke up. It was her final straw. I do not think you're wrong at all. Like, I agree with you that you like stood by, like, I think a great litmus test for this is would I have wanted someone to do this for me? And would I have done this for anyone else in this position? And you said yes. So, here's the thing. I will say though, Sammy posted it on...
Sammy's a bad friend.
Yeah, Sammy's starting shit and then Sammy's acting like, oh my God, the house is on fire. Like, just because I lit the match, like, what do you mean? It's like, I do not respect that. Like, I respect people who like want to cause chaos, want to cause drama, but like, own it. Don't be like, my hands are clean and you're like covered in paint. You're like, literally no. At least own that. So to me, like, that's inconsequential to me. And that's someone who I'm like, okay, cool. I don't trust you. I will say the loyalty for the Hannah thing, if you're going to use names, specific names, like where you heard something, that comes into play of who do you value more and who needs to value your word at that point more. Because if it's irrelevant, if she's not going to act on the information without knowing, like sometimes I'm like, I'm not going to tell you where I heard this. I'm not going to rat someone else out. But also,
are Hannah and Ella friends though? Because if Hannah and Ella are friends, then I'm snitching on Hannah because she should have told Ella.
No, there's a group of girls I grew up with that work with Sean. They're fully aware of the relationship.
So yes,
Hannah said, let Ella know. And I think it's unspoken to be like, please don't say that she got that from me. Because like, you don't have to, you shouldn't be held accountable for the actions your friends do. So for her, she's probably not like, I don't want this to come back to me because like I'm telling you and like she might love Sammy as a friend and be like she's going through some tough times. I don't agree with her decisions, but like I'm not trying to blow up this friendship. Like, I've had friends who've done messy things and I'm like, I don't co-sign it, but it fucking happened. Growing, learning, improving, moving on. So I think there is a level of not sharing where you got information from. I don't think someone has to tell you, like, don't say you heard that from me. But at a certain point, if I'm closer with one side of it and I know going into it, if I'm going to use someone's name who told me that if I say anyone's name, I always assume there's a high likelihood of it getting back to them. And that has to be okay with me.
Yeah, agree. The only thing I think you did wrong was mention the name, but everything else, exactly what you should have done. And Sammy's a bitch.
Yeah. So I would say the childhood friends, like to me, the reaction of like the blowing up that you're at fault for this, I'm like, cool, I don't trust you now. So I'm not going to be in a situation with you. Like I don't co-sign this. Like, again, friends have done stupid things, but if a friend then blames me for their stupid decision and they can't own up to it or want to improve, like that's not my problem.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're wrong.
All right. And next one. Dear Meghan and Melissa, you spelt my name wrong, but I digress. Everyone in this story is in their mid-20s and we're in grad school together. Mallory, cis, woman of color, and I were at a group dinner and we started talking about a girl we didn't like, Allie, which Mallory had referred to as the adopted girl. For context, I'm an adopted cis woman of color, and it's taken a lot for me to move beyond self-hatred and my identity issues growing up. Mallory turns to another girl, Kaylee, and you should stop using E names, Kaylee, Mallory, Allie. I'm confused already. Mallory turns to another girl, Kaylee, to whisper something about Allie. I hear, so I ask her to repeat. It was something that her friend, John, not present, white male, said seeing Allie in public saying maybe she's out looking for her parents. I tell her that's not funny and others try to diffuse things saying John isn't American. That's just not PC humor. After the weekend, it's still bothering me. So I text Mallory saying I was hurt she repeated the quote unquote joke. She apologized for sharing it, but that she's not taking accountability for the original statement. I text, going forward, I'd also highly encourage you to call that kind of stuff out. I know it's hard, but it's disappointing for someone in our profession to say that. She texts back how patronizing that was. Not to tell her what to do or to assume she can't speak up. She defends John, saying he does anti-racist work in his home country, and she's proud to call him a friend. She asks if I'm going to confront the others since she wasn't the only one laughing, and ends with, I'd highly encourage you to never tell me what to do again.
That sounds like a threat.
Am I wrong for the way I handled this when I meant that I want people to be allies in these situations? Sensitive, but willing for some tough love. You don't need it. You handled this so maturely.
Oh my God.
That I commend you for that because I would not be the same.
I'm fully violent. I'm not.
Yeah, like that was
no joke.
That was like such a mature way to say things. And they're the immature ones. They're the ones that didn't handle the situation well. And then Mallory's still defending it and defending John. And then putting it on the fact that he does not live in this, whatever this country is that y'all both live in. This is so fucked up.
I genuinely, like, this to me, obviously I know this is like the level of mean that you write about a character who's irredeemable. You know what I mean? Like, this is a thing that, like, you say one sentence that a person says, I don't need to hear their backstory. I don't need to hear anything about them. I don't need to know anything else to be like, you're a horrible person.
Yes.
Like,
this is a group of horrible people that just enable each other.
And there's a bucket of things, singular phrases, sentences you can say that make me go, you're a lost, kick you off the side of the fucking earth. Like, no, let me say, like, the fact that you were even willing to call her out and ask her to do better.
Call her in.
Exactly. Call her in and ask her to do better is so fucking big of you. The fact that they felt comfortable saying this, like we talk about on this, like, inside. This is not even an inside thought. No. The idea that you would string these things together, like these, never in my life could I fathom, like, so what?
Yes.
Like, it's not even, and I'm sure, and I without a doubt know, because I grew up with kids who were, whether their families were foster families or they grew up in foster homes, like, there's people making comments about people who are and all of that kind of stuff. But, like, she said, I'd highly encourage you to never tell me what to do again. That sounds like a threat to me. Like,
and if I do, then what?
Then what? So, like, the whole thing, all of this, all of the mockery and the laughing, like, this to me, these people sound like a danger. This is not just harmless language or offensive. Like, this is a level of bullying that does not end well. This is heinous.
Yeah.
People who are going to, like, spew hateful, bigoted shit and things that are, like, so vile. A lot of the time, like, you can't see what someone's sexuality is. You can't see what someone's gender is. You can't see what someone's race is in like a cut and dry sort of way. And so you can say things and not know that you're offending the audience who's legitimately right there. And that goes for being, that goes for being adopted as well. And they knew that, like, I can't even imagine laughing.
No.
I would be like, did I miss, what did you, like, where's the punchline? Like, what the fuck?
No. I'm curious because y'all are in grad school and you didn't mention what you're studying.
Oh, I was going to ask if I missed it.
But this sounds like an ethics issue to me.
I would report it.
And I'm a snitch, as y'all know. I snitch all the time.
As you should.
Because I believe in the betterment of all. And if they're going into a profession where it's not ethically, I mean, this is just wrong, period. It's not ethically sound in any way, but if the specific profession that you're in, and I'm guessing because you mentioned it, I'd report it to the ethics committee.
I would report it to the ethics committee, and I'm gonna level with you. I'm someone who awkward laughs in situations. I think you should report everyone who was there and everyone who laughed. Mm-hmm. If I was there and I felt uncomfortable and didn't have a voice to speak up and I laughed, and everyone got called in, I would be fine with someone else calling me in and then being able to sit there and be like, I was really if that was me as someone who uncomfortably laughs, can I control it? No. Do I take responsibility when I do it in inappropriate situations?
Yeah.
If someone's, yes, that is
Sometimes I just laugh because I don't want to actually hear what people are saying.
Exactly.
And I might not have heard what was said, but when it's presented to me and the situation arises, I'll be like, I actually didn't hear what was said. I take responsibility for laughing. I did that, but I do not stand for that at all.
Yeah. And if I face consequences for that, that's, I would rather someone, on the chance that I had done it with malicious intent, I don't know everybody else's. So I'm glad that anyone else who I was with wasn't removed from that because we didn't talk about it. So report everyone. And these sound like actually horrible people. And I would report the fact that, like, you know, Allie's, I can't be racisting for John on John's behalf. And this is really, really, really horrific.
Yeah.
It's bad because it's also, these aren't anonymous people. And so
these are people you're going to see every day.
So like you see heinous comments on things on TikTok and things like that. And like these people have just told you with like fucking sirens and flares that like they are not a safe place for you. And they're not a safe place for a lot of other people. And you did more than enough. And they deserve to be reprimanded for this.
Yep. All right. Your turn.
Hey, gals, I'm wondering if I would be wrong if I reached out to my neighbor and told him to stop idling outside my window. My boyfriend and I live on a ground level in a 3-story building. Our unit is kind of basement vibes, with the windows being basically in line with the ground from the outside. Right outside our main window, our neighbor parks their car about 3 meters to the side. This is fine. However, they tend to spend a lot of time in their car with it on. They literally just sit there in it for 2 to 3 hours. Then they come back inside. It's super weird, but it's the noise and the idea of the exhaust coming straight into our apartment that bothers me. We have thin windows and the noise is quite loud. During the winter, I guess I kind of understood keeping it running in order to stay warm, but now that it's not cold out, I'm not sure why it has to be on. Would I be wrong if I said to do it on the street farther down from our building? Am I wrong for caring what people do outside my apartment? Is that why I pay less to live on the ground floor? Thanks for listening. I mean, is it the reason why you pay less to live on the ground floor? Yes, but you're well within your rights to be like, hey, this is kind of loud. Could you... Because it's not given street noise.
I don't think you can say anything about like the exhaust. I think the noise, yes, especially if it's after. A lot of cities have like a quote unquote like curfew time or time where you can't have loud noise. And especially if they live in your apartment complex, there's usually like quiet hours starting around like 11 or something, depending on what time of week it is. So like, I think you can definitely like, there are laws and rules in place for the noise, but not specifically for the exhaust.
No, I agree with that. I think you need a vibe check. So like how are you going to come about it? Because I think if this is a person who like, you know, maybe you've seen them in the elevator, like, you know, they seem cool. I would probably start with being like, hey, so we live on the ground floor and I know that you probably have like zero idea, like our windows are like relatively low, but it would be awesome if you could just like pull your car up a little bit. Just the sound and the exhaust, it comes like right into like the room. Like I genuinely like don't care. Like, but like maybe this far up, it would be so much more helpful. Because for me, if I'm that person, that's a really quick and easy fix. Yeah. And I would try that, and highly likely that they'll be like, oh, my bad, had no clue. Because when I'm in that's why people pick their nose in their cars. They have no idea that anyone else is aware of. They think it's a little box of privacy. And then if that doesn't happen, then I would use the noise aspect.
And most people don't even know how loud,
how
loud it is inside their car.
Yeah.
Especially like when I'm driving down the street and people take a phone call that comes through their speaker, I can hear their whole goddamn conversation.
I hope you didn't sign an NDA because I'm aware of everything that's going on right now.
Yeah. And I don't think most people know just how loud it is outside the car. I'm surprised it's not going right now. But yesterday at this time, my neighbors started playing 80s power ballads. So loud.
Wonder what kind of day they were having.
Loud. Yeah. And I'm thinking if they're sitting in their car 2 to 3 hours, they're probably avoiding someone that they live with, need some me time, might be decompressing.
Might be crying.
Yeah. Like this is like probably their time. Mm-hmm. So like, just let them know that I'm sure if they're going through something like mentally and they just need to be away from people, they probably have no clue what they're doing.
Yes.
And if you come to them in a respectful way, they'll respect you.
I can't even stress you how common this is in LA. I recently realized from I think it was a Reddit thread that this is not common in a lot of other places. This is big city, like people. People sit in their cars for hours after they get home.
I've always done that.
Yeah.
I've literally, I think I've talked about this before, when I was in college if I just needed a break, I would drive to Walmart because it was open 24 hours and it was safe. So I just sit in my car. And one time, one of my friends who I wasn't friends with saw me and like told them like to check on me because they're like, I don't know if Melissa's okay. No, like I was perfectly fine. But it's just like sitting in your car is just a thing. Like it feels, it's a way for you to feel like that you're by yourself without actually, and being out in the open without actually being out in the open. It's like a little private. Yep. But it's still secluded enough.
It's like a weighted blanket of a safe space because it's not like your apartment, which you look around and you're like, either you have roommates there or it's messy or you have to clean. Like there's no responsibilities in your car.
There might be children inside. They're not ready to see it.
You're listening. You're decompressing, and it's like a car is like a shower. The goal is the safe place, and so this to me is a very relatable thing. And like Melissa said, if you're sitting in your car for 2 to 3 hours, you are in your own world. I've done it. We've all done it. You're not aware of the effect. And I do not want to hurt. I don't want to harm anyone. So kindness, I'll totally change it up.
Also, idling in some places is not legal, like for longer than like 20 minutes. So I would also look into that because I wouldn't go at them like this is against the law, but just know that like idling can be, because it's endangerment to, like, it's an environmental thing because they're just sitting in the car with the exhaust going.
Yeah. Well, it also depends if it's an electric.
Yeah, but if the exhaust is going.
Oh, that is good point, Melissa. Very good point. Yeah, I think like knowing the fact that like you're not in the wrong legally is a good thing to know in the back of your pocket, so you can come at the initial interaction like,
hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. Positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go network by listening today. Look for the Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Really chill because it's going to get fixed.
Yeah.
But it's much better to get fixed in a chill way. So know that it will get done. And the best way to do that is non-judgmental. You can even lie and be like, okay, so I do this all the time too. I totally get it. Like, and lying about to make other people feel better in that way. Where I'm creating something that I've done that I haven't, where it's like, I used to do that right in front of our place. And my boyfriend had told me like, oh, the exhaust gets in here. And now that I'm home, I'm feeling that too. So like, I just go over here, like super easy. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, we're in this together, comrades.
All right. Well, that is it. So we're going to take a break now.
Yeah.
Now we're back from our break and it's time for But Are They Wrong? And that's when we pick somebody in the zeitgeist in the world who is wrong about something. And this week, my pick is Kouri Richins. It's spelled Kouri. So Kouri wrote this book called Are You With Me? Which is a picture book she wrote to help children cope after the death of a loved one. So she appeared on Good Things Utah, which is a local news station, and she called her husband's death unexpected and described how it sent her and her 3 boys reeling. So for the children, since they were grieving, she wrote this book, making sure that their spirit is always alive in her home. And so the book is about explaining to kids just like just because the dad isn't present, then he's still, or physically there with them, that he's still there. And the anchors really commended her on being a good husband.
I'm so worried every time you start this shit. I'm like, what the fuck are you about to say next?
I like to carefully craft
I know.
these.
It's terrifying, Melissa.
Prosecutors allege.
Uh-oh. Prosecutors are involved.
That in the middle of the night, in March of 2022, Kouri called authorities and let them know that her husband, Eric, was cold to the touch. And she told the officers that she had made her husband a mixed vodka drink to celebrate him selling a home, and then went to soothe one of their children to sleep in their bedroom. And then she later returned, and upon finding her husband unresponsive, she called 911. A medical examiner later found 5 times the lethal dose of fentanyl in his system. They believe that she was the one that poisoned him, essentially. And in addition to the murder charge, she's also facing charges involving possessing GHB, which is a narcolepsy drug frequently used in recreational settings, including dance clubs. Detectives found evidence that she had communicated with a person who has previously been charged for possession of controlled substances with the intent to distribute. And all this was broken by the same news station that she had gone on to promote this book. So she texted this person to ask them for some prescriptions for pain medication, and said that she had like an injury, and then she contacted them again for some hydrocodone. And about 2 weeks later, Kouri said her investor wanted something strong. So she was telling this person she was getting drugs from that it was for like somebody she knew for an investor, and then said that that she wanted something stronger, like quote unquote some of the Michael Jackson stuff, asking specifically for fentanyl. So it is believed that she was giving him these different drugs
and was not
with these vodkas that she was fixing for him, and he wasn't dying, so she had to
not at the speed she wanted.
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah. She said that 3 days after she got the fentanyl, she and her husband had a Valentine's Day dinner in which he became very ill. A probable cause statement read, Eric believed that he had been poisoned. Eric told a friend that he thought his wife was trying to poison him. So she was arrested this past Monday, like yesterday, from when we're recording, in Utah, and is accused of charging documents of poisoning her husband with lethal dose of fentanyl at their home in some city in Utah, Camas, I think, a small mountain town near Park City. According to a probable cause statement, the victims told a friend that he thought his wife was trying to kill him.
What was the turnaround for the book?
I think the book recently came out because she was just out promoting it.
Yeah.
And he died in March of 2022, so about a year.
Self-published?
I don't know. Let me see.
Because, you know, this getting cracked open, to be so bold as to murder your husband, then write a book and think that nobody's going to be like, hey, you should look into her. Her husband thought that she was going to kill him.
And the thing is that she's not the first person that has written a book and basically confessed to it. It's happened numerous times.
Mm-hmm. Well, people
get too comfortable.
And people
sometimes
want
they want credit. Sometimes just shut your fucking mouth. I mean, like,
don't kill people.
Great. Yeah, don't kill people. Like,
I'm glad that you fucking blabbed, so now that, like, you're getting caught, but good God, the care for life is just...
And those poor children.
Yeah. Holy shit. That's insane. And, you know, we can count on you every week to bring us something from the depths of the internet that I had no idea about.
Yeah.
So, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Fuck that woman.
Yeah.
Hope those kids are well. Hope they've got family they can go to.
Yeah.
That's supportive
and not hurt,
and not on her side.
He may have been a horrible person, but
yeah, he may have been a horrible person, but
no.
I think that if you kill your pimp preemptively and it's not in a moment of immediate self-defense, I still think that should be considered self-defense. So in this, when people kill their abusers, if it's not a situation where it's like, oh, their life was on the, like, if you're with an abuser, your life's threatened every single day.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to do that, don't write a book.
Don't write a fucking book.
Don't write a book. Don't write a book. Listen to any song about women in country killing their abusive husbands.
Write the book and burn it.
There's other therapy exercise.
There's other books about grief that you can share with your children.
Yep.
Oh, I also should say, I'm sure people want us to talk about this Tarte situation. We're not going to talk about it because I don't care that much. And of the two of us, I'm really the only one that should be talking about this. But I will say, Cammy should know that we talk about her in like every show. But she made a great series of videos on TikTok. So go check them out.
Yeah. Cammy was telling me, she was talking to her sister about something, and then she was like, I don't know, her sister was saying something. She goes, oh my God, my friend Meghan was doing all this. And she was like, who is this friend Meghan you keep talking about? And she was like, oh, and she's like showing her. And she's like, I've never met her. She goes, well, yeah, we probably only hung out like in person like 2 or 3 times. And she was like, why? What? And she was like, I don't know. I was like, Cammy, fucking same way about you. I talk about you all the time. She's like, I'm glad we're on the same page. Okay. So I would like to nominate a TikTok creator, Jen LaForce, who made a video. And I'm going to read you the title of this video. The video has since been deleted, but it's been stitched so many times. The video caption, get ready with me. Are English speakers simple-minded? Now, before we get into this, to the people who this might not mean anything to you, but if you understand, this will mean everything to you. She talks about, how she speaks French.
Bonjour.
She's from Quebec. If you, those who know will know.
I've been to Quebec.
Yeah, I have lots of friends who've been to Quebec.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I got along just fine without speaking French. Continue.
So, she made this video about how her and her girlfriend can't communicate, and it's not their fault. It's because English speakers are simple-minded, and the exact wording I'm going to play.
Have you guys ever heard of the theory on how people who only speak English have a less developed brain?
No, I have not. Have you guys heard the theory that people who only speak English have a less developed brain? Not only is that not a theory, not only is that not a fact, it is legitimate bullshit. And she goes on and on and on to talk about all of this goddamn stupid fucking shit that is really just English is your second language. So it's that English does not have, it's a really simple language. It's really easy for anyone to learn. And the issue with English is there's not enough words to really convey how you feel, to communicate like all of these other languages. So my girlfriend and I, the language we share together is English, and it's hard to communicate because English is lacking the words and the meanings to convey our complex emotions because we're not simple English-speaking Americans. And
is her girlfriend American?
Her girlfriend's first language is Hebrew. They're both I want to say they're in Canada. I don't think her girlfriend is American, but her girlfriend's not. She's speaking for her girlfriend. So I don't know if her girlfriend feels the same. I don't want to rope her girlfriend into any of it of like, if this is a statement that she also agrees with. It's wild. So a creator named Woody Ling did a stitch with it, basically debunking everything, and included all of these clips of what she's saying, debunking, talking about it, and talking about how like this is really, really, really fucked up. And then she does a defense video. Basically, Melissa, I hate when people are like, oh my God, not this creator gaslighting us with their response video. She was like, I don't know why anyone thought about this. And I was like, ma'am, we saw the video. The video is, she's literally acting like, well, I didn't say that. And everyone's like, roll the tape. She's like, close my eyes, plug my ears. I can't hear anything. La, 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 la. Did not happen. And she's saying like, no, I didn't say any of those things. Like what I said was that, you know, people in America look down on people who only speak one language when in reality, like those, and everyone's like, well, yeah, that's a statement that anyone who's a monolingual in the United States who then looks down on people who are learning English as their second, third, or fourth language. That is based in racism. And yeah, no one's against any of that. But you said that they have less people who only speak English have less developed brains. And that, I don't know what the term for it is, but it drives me fucking crazy when people see a statement and therefore go, so the inverse must be true. So something like carrots, this is not like fact, but it's something we've all heard. Carrots make your eyesight better. So then the inverse would be, if you don't eat carrots, your eyesight will be worse. That's not true. The idea that if something has a positive or forward moving effect, that if you do not participate in it, or the inverse is taking you backwards, when that's not the case. That's not how fucking statistics work. It's just not how fucking statistics work, or how research works. Like any of this shit. That's how we get fucking anti-vaxxers. That's what we're like, well, no, because if then it's this, and it goes, no. If something improves neurological function, not doing that thing does not decline neurological function. That's not how this fucking works. And the whole thing is absolutely wild. And people were like, okay, they find all the things she's citing. The thing that she says that she's citing, they're not studies. They're people talking about other studies that they've read, which they can't find, but they're published anywhere. And no one is making any definitive claims. They're talking about other theories. And she's making claims saying that these other people made claims about, and it's like, no one has done any of this except for her. And the way that she's talking, and then she goes, I just like don't know anyone would be like listening to an influencer on all of this. And they're like, so why'd you make the video?
She got caught.
It's wild. And I need everybody so badly. I'm begging on my hands and knees. You don't need to make a get ready with me video for every circumstance and situation. Sometimes the topic that you want to cover, it is not appropriate for you to be like, now I'm going to go in with my Rare Beauty blush, blah, 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 blah. Now let's talk. Whoa.
Get ready with me as I go piss on the toilet. Here are my thoughts on
the prison industrial complex.
As I piss.
Hey, everyone, I'm going to do a contouring tutorial while I tell you why I think reverse racism is real. Like, whoa. I'm going to get on here and I'm going to tell you why I believe in the death penalty. Whoa. Here are some sites with some specific people that I'm going to be talking about who I think deserve to die. Whoa. Hold up. Deep breath. Let's process. If you want, be like Alex Earl, you want to be like, let me tell you about the wildest first date I went on while and I pooped my pants. Go for that. But the idea that this is not the level of like gossip that has been passed down through generations of women and people who telling stories, like bring back gossip without a doubt, but please do not put things that are serious in such an unserious manner and talk about it like gossip. It's disrespectful.
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy, am I not shocked when I found out where she's from and the elitism of it and looking down on other people. So, hey, it's not a blanket statement, but
I love poutine.
You know, I think that when the French look down on people in Quebec speaking French, I think a sadly very true thing that happens, and it doesn't happen just there, it happens everywhere, when you're targeted from other people, instead of looking at something happening and uplifting other people, you then go, well, who can I then target to make me feel like I've been hazed, we've been bullied for this, so now let me find someone else. Like, that doesn't help anyone. You know, like all the comments are like French people being like, oh my God, like the of course. And I'm like, and instead of being like solidarity, it's let me punch down. And who can I punch down with? Americans. Her whole goal was, I think Americans are stupid. How can I say this in a TikTok?
Mm-hmm.
Atrocious. And there's nothing more. I need people to stop talking about developed versus undeveloped brains who are not professionals in the space speaking in a professional space about it, because you don't have the knowledge to not know when you're spewing medical eugenics. you don't have the credentials to talk about that or to read it and to know that like, oh, am I actually talking about underdeveloped? Like, what do you mean by, like, explain?
But also, I think in her case, she knew.
That's what I meant. I mean, like in this thing that you can't, but then she goes on, she goes, well, I didn't think anyone watched it. I'm like, bitch, you have followers.
If you don't think anybody, this is across anything when people are like, oh, I didn't expect it to go viral. Don't ever post anything on TikTok that you don't expect to go viral. Because the way the algorithm works, you never know. It could be. Even if you have 10 followers, that one video that you make that might be a little controversial could go viral.
I have videos that I'm like, I don't think anyone watched this. And you know what I do? I don't post them because I go, what's the point?
Yep.
I don't think
I post videos all the time that I don't want people to like. They're just videos.
For me.
They're for me. I post them. I know nobody's going to watch them because I'm not doing this for people to like see things like,
yep.
And if I feel like something's a little controversial, I'm not going to post. I make very silly, dumb videos on TikTok. Very dumb. And they're for my own enjoyment. If I'm going to say something that's controversial, it's not like I'm going to be somebody that's going to say something that's going to be controversial. But if I were, I would never post it without thinking no one would see it.
Yep. So Jen LaForce forced me pre-Olympics to hop on my patriotism side. And I'm not prepared to do that. I thought I've already been through it when the British are coming.
You still are. Now we got to deal with British Chinese food right now.
And right now, I just need you to know that a lot for my patriotism, every 2 to 4 years, depending on what teams I'm rooting for in the Olympics, and it is coming around far too more often for my liking. Collect yourselves, gather yourselves. On the internet that I see on my For You page, bullshit, disgusting, jail.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, there is a sense of camaraderie I feel as an American, similar to when Kelly Clarkson won American Idol, that when I see the comment sections and I go, well, here we are, begrudgingly.
A moment like this.
And on that note, that's the end of our episode. We hope you all enjoyed. Please constantly keep submitting your submissions to our email address. And if you see something on TikTok or you see something anywhere, or you have an idea you want us to talk about, hot take or a rant or someone to nominate, you can always slide into our DMs, tag us on TikTok, Twitter, anywhere on social media. Join our Patreon. Vote for who you think was wrong in this episode in the Instagram stories that will be up tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, maybe Monday. But, you know, and Fisting Fridays tomorrow.
Yeah. Woo! Have a great day.
We'll circle back.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
Goodbye.
But Am I Wrong is a production by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melisa DeMont, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production by Coco Lorenz.
And production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all. I'm JJ.
Hey, guys. It's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests to share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.